Welcome to the Footy with Mates. This week, a very special guest, the executive producer of this show. You know him from Oppenheimer. You know him from The Boys. You know him as the executive producer of the Footy with Broden. You know him from what else? What else? The Scream.
The Screams.
The Screams. Thank you. It's Jack Quaid, everyone. Thank you.
And Star Trek.
Oh yeah, Star Trek.
I'm
Lower
Star
Decks.
Trek. Yeah. Thanks so much for having me on board, guys. This is great.
How you've been listening every week since you became an executive producer? What's your feedback?
Of course. It's I'd say focus more on the footy and less on bullshit people from Hollywood.
Great.
is what I'd say.
Let's start with football because I made you watch a 5-minute video on AFL, and that's pretty much
what an ordeal it was.
Yeah, it was essentially just like the AFL kind of does it a good job at it, where they go like, this is for people because no one knows what the hell's going on down here. But it's a video that's been put together by the AFL going, so what is AFL? After watching that 5-minute video, do you think you had a pretty good understanding of what was going on?
I had a pretty good understanding, yeah. I have to be honest. I thought that I was essentially just going to start watching essentially soccer. I have to be very honest with you. You were like, yeah, watch this video. I'm like, I don't know why I have to watch a video. I've seen Ted Lasso, so I know everything about this.
Yeah.
I cannot begin to tell you how utterly flummoxed I was when I saw 4 goalposts and an oval stadium. It looks incredible. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
No.
I was just like, whoa, this is like, it's a whole other thing than I thought it was going to be. And then the video does a pretty good job at explaining it. I feel like I know the basic, thing of like taking a ball from one side of a place to the other side of a place and getting some points.
Do you like sport?
I do like sport. But here's the thing. So with American football, I'm born and raised in LA, like the Hollywood asshole I am. And we have 2 football teams, American football teams. But when I was growing up, we had 0. So I was way more into basketball because we had the Lakers, and they were obviously, in like the mid to late 90s, early
Very
2000s.
good.
They were like definitely in their heyday. And we had Shaq and Kobe and all these
the best.
Being a
amazing
Hollywood
players.
boy, have you ever sat courtside at a Lakers game?
I have sat courtside at it.
That's sick. That's unreal.
I have.
Don't be embarrassed.
It was great.
That's very, very
amazing.
cool.
I saw Jack Nicholson. He was there, and he was excited. He was very excited to be there.
What was it? Would you feel close to the basketball, sitting in the front of the basketball?
Do I feel emotionally
Did you-
close to the basketball?
No, not emotionally, just literally. Did you feel close?
I felt close. Yeah, I've only sat courtside twice.
Wow.
One was for a Lakers game. The other was for a Knicks game. And the craziest part about it is like you hear everything the players are saying. That's the craziest thing about it. Every time you watch anything on TV, you just kind of get that, all the you can tell they're saying some shit to each other, but you don't really hear it. You hear everything, and I loved it.
Are
and
they saying
it was
nice things about each other?
No, not at all. Not at all. So many expletives being thrown around, and I loved it. It was so great. And then it was kind of odd. Like I remember going to a Knicks game, and something about hearing them made you really realize like how young everybody is. Like everyone's just so young and athletic. And I was like, oh, I never really like put it together. Like, oh yeah, you have to be just so in your prime.
Yes.
And by that point, I think I was like, when I saw that Knicks game, I think I was like 26, and I'm like, I am out of my athletic prime at 26. If these guys can do what they do,
You're at the peak
insane.
of theater sports training, though. You're an elite.
Yes, exactly.
athlete.
But my God, was I trying to be an improviser? But yeah, no, that's kind of my history with sports. I had a baseball thing for a while as well. The Dodgers, the Anaheim Angels, when they won the World Series, that was huge.
Yeah.
We say the World Series, but we all know that's an incorrect thing.
Did you grow up watching Angels in the Outfield? Do you remember that movie?
Yes, now I'm like, I think I've seen it, but have I actually seen it?
That was the one where there was angels, and one of them was Dr. the one from Back to the Future, Christopher Lloyd. I think.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen it, and I think I get that movie confused with Field of Dreams, a movie that I also haven't seen.
Remember that other movie? That baseball movies were great. You should do a baseball movie, Jack.
I'd love to do a baseball movie.
Yeah, that
put
one.
me in.
Remember that kid where that kid broke his arm and then he became the greatest pitcher? It was like Mike, but for baseball. Do you remember that one?
No. It was like Mike, but it was like Mark or something.
No, not like Mark. Mark, this is the opposite of Mark. Mark doesn't wear shoes. So like Mike was Lil Bow Wow, was an orphan, and then he got some shoes that I guess maybe lightning hit, and Michael Jordan's shoes, and he put them on and he became like a starting point guard for an NBA team at 4'3". And and it was a fake LA team, but it was basically the Clippers. It was a team that had never won before and were pathetic. And
that sounds like LA. That sounds like LA teams in general.
Okay, so I'm glad you don't know anything about AFL football, right? Because I want to bring up one AFL team in Australia called the GWS Giants. So they are
GWS stands for
Greater. It's simple, isn't it? It's
Greater Western.
Correct.
Greater Western Australia.
Greater Western Sydney. So
Sydney,
great. You probably didn't go to the Greater West. It would be like saying, what's the equivalent? It's maybe
Is it by Ryde? Is it near Ryde? I've been to Ryde.
What the fuck is Ryde? What's
RYDE?
Is that a place?
Oh, man.
I've never heard of Ryde.
It's where all my girlfriend's family is.
Well, no, there'll be people. We have a lot of people who live in Sydney who, it's a suburb, isn't it?
Yeah.
A suburb of Sydney, 13 kilometres north.
Is it even to the west? I have no idea.
Northwest.
I had...
Close.
Mr. Australia. Anyway, so they have recently started doing press releases talking about the fact that they are going to try and expand into the US and try and conquer that market. Okay? Mm-hmm. So they have a huge task ahead of them because, one, no one knows the game at all. But if they can do it, then there's 340 million of you. Do you know the population of Australia, Jack?
I'm going to have to say I don't.
Yeah. Take a wild guess.
Okay. I do know that Sydney and Melbourne, I know that that's probably the highest population densities, right?
Yeah,
or just those two cities. Yeah. And then in the middle, there's not a ton of people. And then there's some people in Perth?
Yeah, that's good.
Is that the one?
Very good.
Okay, great.
Very good.
I'm doing all right. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't know. 40 million.
That's Canadian numbers, and we're similar to Canada.
Okay.
We're about 25. There's no one here. It's a very small population. But so if GWS was able to crack into the US and get 1% of the American population to watch it, it would make them probably one of the biggest clubs in Australia.
Easily.
I've just recently, maybe 4 minutes ago, we have a connection to that football club. With the head of their social media he's a very talented individual. He's a meme lord, and his name's Jacob. And I said, Jack Quaid, we're talking to Jack Quaid. What would you do to get Jack to get Jack as a fan? What could you offer him? And he said, huge. We'll give him free tickets when we're there and meet all the players, etc. And we'll send him some merch now.
I feel like I'm kind of an easy sell. I'm like, well, that's to me, that's above and beyond. I would have taken like a hat and to be. And so wait, so all he's trying to get me to do is to be a fan.
I guess it's to make you a fan of. It would be huge for them to be able to say Hollywood's own Jack Quaid, star of The Boys, Oppenheimer, Scream. What else? Give me another one. Star Trek.
Superman. Yeah.
Tiny Donna's Big Old House of Fun. All you want is a hat. You've got to.
I feel like I don't even need a hat. I feel like I just feel like it's going to take forever to get here anyway, and I'm kind of like consider me a fan.
No, Jack. You got to play hardball, Jack.
Okay. All right. Fine. This is why I have reps. Okay.
I'll get them to send you some.
All of that sounded great. but also unnecessary. I just want to go to a game. It seems like this is the thing that I got from that video is it seems like it's such a good time to be. First of all, Oval Stadium, not a bad seat in the house, I would assume.
Yeah,
yes, big.
It's pretty damn big. It feels like I would just want to go and take a look. I remember when we did press for the boys, we went down to Sao Paulo and we went to this football club. It's not footy, it's just football.
Soccer,
and we saw a game, like the whole cast watched this game, and it was like the most riveting night of my life. Like I loved seeing it. It was so much fun. I feel like all I really need to do is like go there and actually experience it for myself.
Yes, yes, and you are welcome anytime. But they're going to bring it to LA, so maybe all you need to get on is the 405 or the 101.
You know what? It'll really make me a fan. Start dropping freeway names, and I'll just be like, "Oh, you got me."
Okay, Jack. You had. Firstly, can I before we run out of time, because I want to talk about your AFL questions, but I also want to ask. I've seen Oppenheimer 3 times. I really liked it. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, cool.
He's just had a baby, so he doesn't go out anymore.
I would say focus on the baby.
Yeah,
I'd
but
say that was a good move.
Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
How long did you work on that film? I've seen that the art department built literal towns. I know Christopher Nolan is like, I want to know what it was like working with him. Yes. How was it?
It was all just incredible. It was an incredible experience. I feel like we all felt the exact same way, which is like, why are we here? How did this? Someone must have made a mistake. And then as soon as we got onto the set, we realized, obviously, we're in incredible hands with Christopher Nolan. So my journey with it is basically like these auditions went out. Everybody basically was asked to submit a self-tape if they wanted to audition. And there was a monologue from, I think, The Theory of Everything, not from Oppenheimer, just kind of dummy sides.
Oh.
And a monologue was all about explaining how a black hole works. And then there was a scene that was very much probably from some other movie that's not Oppenheimer. That's all about like government men covering up a big thing. And we got the sense that if they liked your monologue, you became a scientist, and if they liked your scene, then you became, a military person who's very much on like Matt Damon's side of the tracks. So submitted the monologue. A few weeks went by, didn't really hear much, which usually means like probably didn't get it. And then I got a call out of nowhere from my reps just being like, you got it. There's this guy named Richard Feynman, real scientist, who you look, enough like, and you're in there. And I was like, that's the greatest thing in the world. So all of a sudden I'm in New Mexico. And I remember my first day so vividly, just being so nervous because I had like one line. And the guy, Richard Feynman, has a very specific Far Rockaway, Queens, like New York accent. And I would because I listened to him, like he has the most distinct voice. And I remember being like, does he want me to do this? Is that going to be like too much? And I don't really know Christopher Nolan at this point. So I remember just being right before going, because I didn't know when to ask him. I was like, hey, is it cool? He has like a very distinct voice. Is it cool if I do it? And he just goes, surprise me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's the first time you really you had a proper chat to Christopher.
Yeah. I mean, I met him once when I went to Universal in LA. The only time I ever read the script front to back was when I went to Universal, and they basically like give you the script, and it's like this huge, thick thing, and they basically put you in a windowless room, and they're like, turn your phone off and take as long as you need to read it. But that was the only time, because they didn't want any leaks. So that's the only time you had the opportunity, and the rest of the time I just kind of had my pages. Which weren't that many in the grand scheme of it all. Wow. But
and then you're just on set and you have to give him a quick rundown of your character and what you think.
I mean, I did briefly meet him when I did like a costume fitting, and he just kind of came in. I didn't know he was going to come in, and I was like, oh my God, hi, hello. I'm in a jacket that's way too big. Hello, nice to meet you, sir. You're a hero. And so, yeah, he was like, surprise me. And then I'm so sorry, I'm butchering his accent. And then I did it, and he didn't say anything. So off to the races we went. And I think the the craziest part about it was there's so many crazy parts, and I don't know how much time we have, but also I wasn't able to talk about any of this because we just had a strike.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually able to.
You can vomit it all out, please.
Yeah. Okay, so I do a lot of bongo playing in the movie. I'm more of a percussionist than I am an actor in Oppenheimer. Spoilers, Tom. I play the bongos. The real guy that I played, Richard Feynman, he loved playing the bongos. That was like his thing. And David Krumholtz, who's also in the movie, he's amazing in the movie.
How's he? Is he a cool guy to
He's
hang
so
out with?
cool. He plays bongos in not one, but two different Grateful Dead cover bands. And he taught me how to play the bongos while we're like at our hotel, like in the lobby, just like, you gotta feel it. He was so awesome. And I remember I had to play bongos in this one like Christmas party scene where there's all these like insane, like acclaimed actors walking in for like 2 seconds and doing something amazing.
They bring Kenneth Branagh.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh's in it, and Emily Blunt's there, Matt Damon's there. It's crazy, and I'm just like bibbidi bop. But after that scene, we were shooting another day, and I remember we're all talking. Him and Nolan and like 50 scientists like me. And then he stops everything cold, looks at me, and just goes, "I saw the dailies for the bongos. You really impress me." And I'm like, never in my life did I think I'd get a bongo compliment from Christopher Nolan, but here I am, and I'm
There's
moments
happy. Where he says things that feel like, because he's essentially Batman. Like, and that he just walks around in this suit. He's more Bruce Wayne, really. Like, no one really knows anything about him. But sometimes in press, he says things like, someone will go, "Hey, you like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, don't you?" But
and he's like, Roderick rules. Yeah.
What is he doing?
It's funny. So like,
and he goes on Peloton and stuff. Like,
we're all like, the whole time, all the scientists, the people who are like me, who have like 2 or 3 lines in the movie, we're all kind of like, we don't deserve to be here. Why are we here? But you get the sense while you're shooting, like he really does his research. He does know like who everybody is, and he does cast you for a very specific reason. And it was amazing to watch him work. He's so incredibly talented. Just to watch him do this,
he's
do that.
Jack is doing the famous director thing, where you get your hands and make a frame so you can
make a frame.
He did that,
or watching him point and being like, "Oh yeah, over there." No, but the confidence he had, because I'm used to television where the goal is to get as much coverage of a scene as possible, and if you don't know what that is, it's like a shot of one character and a reverse shot of another character, and then like something a shot from another character from the profile or from dead on, or a wide shot of the entire scene from like way back in the room. And sometimes you have like multiple characters and you have to get every angle, because TV is all about editing and making sure that you have something to work with later in the cut. And that's great. You have to cover your bases when you're doing TV, and I totally get that. But he's such a confident, incredible filmmaker. I remember we shot a scene. I'm like maybe in the background. I don't even know if you see me, but it's the scene where Killian is like looking at the slides for like the results of the bomb on Hiroshima.
Yeah.
Big scene.
Yep.
If you're doing a movie about Oppenheimer.
Sure.
Shot it in 2 setups. So that's 2 shots and only used one of them.
Yeah.
So I remember thinking like, oh, if this was TV, it'd be like a shot of like the crowd and then a shot of like Killian going, in on his face, like dead on and like to the side. And then like the people showing the slides. You don't even see the slides in the movie, which is probably good because that's very gnarly, obviously, but and horrible. But it's I was just amazed that day. I was like, oh, we're going to like go home soon. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
Like before anyone's burnt out on the scene, and obviously it's a very heavy scene for Killian. So like to play that, you can only I don't care how good of an actor you are, you can't do that like 10,000 times and still expect it to be fresh. Anyway, sorry if I'm rambling.
No,
but
Killian is my pick for the Oscar. Do you
I mean, he's my pick too, baby.
Did he go through it? Did you ever talk to him while you like?
He's honestly the loveliest guy in the world, and for a person playing someone who's obviously going through a lot, and it's very much that character's life story. He was so incredibly kind and generous. The other best moment on set I had, and this happened to all of us, was Killian would go around one day and he came up to me and he was like, we shot this in like the summer of like 2022 or 2021. And he was like saying, not the summer, the spring, whatever. And he would say, hey, I was thinking about going to see Batman later. Do you want to go see Batman? And I was like, because like the Batman had just come out, the Robert Pattinson one. Yeah. And I was like, yes. Yeah. Like that was so cool. And then it dawned on me, oh, Scarecrow just asked me if I wanted to go see Batman. And
that so damn Batman, we got to go get him. We got to go watch him.
We all went. We all, like the cast all went. We like rented out a theater in Santa Fe and we all went to go see the Batman. We loved it. It was great.
That is very cool.
Yeah. It's like a weirdly wholesome moment for such a movie about such a gruesome, horrible thing.
Yeah. This is a wonderful chat. Let's very quickly, we've taken up enough of your time. Let's run through. Give me 5
No, this
questions.
is fantastic. I'm having such a good time.
Great.
Okay. There's a maneuver that I saw where you stand on someone's shoulders in order to catch the ball.
Yes.
And this is referred to as a sk.
It's called a specky or a screamer.
Specky.
Oh yeah, screamer. Yeah.
A specky or a screamer. And I loved in the video, they were like, is that even allowed? Yeah, it's allowed.
I did watch that.
I love
their
that
Australian
so much.
accents, and they're like, you know it is. They
Yeah.
do. Yes, that is a thing.
I'm like, you're saying this for my benefit. And I'm like, I appreciate
It's a
it.
bit patronising, I guess. Yes, you're allowed to jump on their shoulders, and it makes no sense. I think it just kind of came out of, where did it come out of? I guess it's the idea of that it's a very open game. It's 360 degrees in that you, like soccer or basketball or NFL, they're left or right.
Yeah.
But this one is kind of, you can go in any angle. And so it's almost like a field. And it can go anyway. So the idea of you need to take marks, which are when you catch the ball. And if you catch the ball, it means, and I guess
It means,
if a few people,
you get a free kick.
yeah, I've never really thought about this. It's just been ingrained in my brain since I was 2. But you can run it, you can jump on people, and it's okay, I guess.
And it's sick. I think that's the long and short of it, right?
Yeah,
It's sick. I think that's what I really appreciated about it was that it's just like, this is something you can do because it's cool.
Yeah, it'd be like with the NBA if they banned dunking. Like, you can't do that. Like,
exactly.
It's like our dunk is the screamer.
all right.
Also, the drama school kid in me was just like, that's a movement class, and that's on the field. I've done that, but not
stunning.
for anything that anyone would think is cool.
But if being in a scene with your partner who doesn't want to do the scene with you is the challenge. You know, it's like they're not like, let's do this together. The other person's like, get off me, you bastard.
Get off me. What are you specking me? Is that it?
Yeah, that's perfect, Jack.
Hang on.
You can go around LA saying that now. What other questions?
What are you
have you got?
specking me? By the way, just a side note, I do this podcast here, Comedy Bang Bang, in the States, and I do a character. I do the ghost of Dr. John, who's a iconic New Orleans singer, and he has a very specific voice. But I have an Aussie girlfriend, and I watch Auntie Donna all the time. So when my first line doing this character, I've been waiting to do this character the entire fucking podcast, and then I go, how's everybody going? And instead of how's everybody doing, and everybody was just like, what the fuck? What is
that? Doesn't
that authentic Cajun lingo?
Yeah,
I was just like, oh man, no, and I'm starting to say car park. It's fucking ridiculous. Anyway,
if you like D&D as well,
Garage.
there's another great podcast that Jack makes.
Ooh, yes, I produce it. I actually produced that one. It's called Hero Club. My buddy Nick Williams, who's also in my sketch comedy group Sasquatch, does that one. It's great. It's basically D&D campaigns without any crosstalk, and we use original music that we make and sound effects. It basically is like a D&D radio play. It's awesome.
It's a very fun. High-end D&D is the way I describe it, like premium.
But back
D&D.
to footy. Broden was an amazing guest. We need to have you back. But
I've done every
back
D&D
to
podcast in the world.
Yes.
Yes.
But back to footy. I had one more question. I had several other questions.
Yeah, no, one more's fine. Pick your best one.
Oh man. Oh my god, it was just right on the tip of my tongue. Where the fuck did it go? It was about. Okay. Oh man. Oh god damn it.
What were we talking about?
I'm so sorry.
Ryder.
There was Specky. That move was incredible. Oh, okay. It's the fact that you have to dribble the ball.
Yeah.
or bounce the ball. I had no idea that was a thing. How do they? That's the most impressive thing about footy to me is that I understand that ball is oblong shaped. If I did that, it would just go everywhere.
Yeah,
How do
really,
they?
It's really hard. It's a weird. I don't know. Once again, if maybe someone listening can give me the history of it. I don't know. I guess it's to kind of make it harder for you to run away from people because you need to do something really high skilled and really difficult to do while running at like 20 k's an hour. I don't know.
Yeah. It's again so impressive. Okay, so my other question is like, who are the top teams? Who are your New England Patriots? Yeah. Who's the biggest footy star?
New England Patriots is a very loaded team. By that, do you mean just drowning in success?
Yes. So who are they? Like, they're kind of. They're kind of unbeatable, but they have a little like everyone kind of hates them for that reason.
Yes,
and
In recent years, the best team to like dominate is a team called. Also, we have this weird setup where there's 18 teams, right? But 10 of them are in one city, which is Victoria, which is where we are. So it's this bizarre because it started as the league for Victoria, but it's grown out to be the Australian Football League. So there's 10 teams in Victoria. So when I say the Richmond Tigers, that is literally a suburb of Melbourne, and their football club won 3 out of 4 premierships or Super Bowls, and so they were very good. But before
what is this in Super Bowls? So I can understand.
And then the other one would be Hawthorn, so another Victorian team. It's the main grand final is played in Melbourne in a 100,000 seat stadium called the MCG, the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And it's where Taylor Swift is playing. Swifty's doing 3 sold out, or maybe 4 sold out shows there. So you could come.
Damn.
It's it's the opposite of a Travis Kelce game in that she's performing.
Yes,
and he'll be
he'll be watching from the box seats.
But yes,
that's okay. Cool.
So they're the very good
Tigers.
Ones. Yeah. Who do you?
And is there like an individual that is like your Tom Brady or who's your shining star?
I'd say Tom Brady. There's Tom Brady's an absurd. He's actually here as we record this right now doing corporate events. No joke. He's walking.
No, really?
Yeah, he's doing these like $1,500 ticket. You know, you go to some corporate like a hotel, a press room, and then he throw hey, and then he throws the football around, and people are like, yeah. It's like.
Wow. The only other person I can think of that does that I've seen do that is Tommy Wiseau before you walk into his screening of the room. He literally goes, hey, and throws the football around with the fans. Yeah. That's incredible. But yeah, do you have are there people that are like...
It's hard to dominate. Yeah, it's hard to dominate for a long time like Brady did, but I feel like there's definitely 5-6 year spurts where a player is dominant, and the most recent would be Dustin Martin, right?
Yeah, I think he's the most recent Tom Brady. There's a guy, he shaves the sides of his heads.
Yeah, he looks very cool. Yeah.
And
that's all you need. That's all you need to be a Tom Brady is to shave the sides of your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like a David Beckham or like a a guy.
Have you watched the Beckham documentary?
I did. It was really, really great.
It's really interesting. The thing that struck me more than anything is how whatever he did to his head, he was still just 10 out of 10 beautiful.
Yeah.
How does he do that? That was fucked up.
I know. That's just like he has got the best genes in the world. It's insane.
Yeah. I think they're from Strauss. Now, Levi's. So anyone who ever
speaking of documentaries, though, I feel like that is a thing. If you really want to corner the American market, I feel like that Welcome to Wrexham documentary series just hit Americans so hard.
How good is
we're
Wrexham?
All
do you like it?
I love that show.
Yes,
I love that show.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that team. I love that that show is so good that they even have a whole episode dedicated to other towns that don't have documentaries made about them and how they're kind of jealous about it.
Yeah,
but
I'm kind of keeping an eye on them now. This is recorded a few weeks ago, but I believe they're second in League 2 now. So there's a very good chance that they're just going to get upgraded again to League 1, which will be great. But that show, I feel the same, fully invested. Do you know what it is? I think for a lot of people, they like the idea of owning something and building something.
Yes.
Yeah, they love a rags to riches story, or like, you know, like kind of getting something, building something back up, a comeback story.
Yes.
That's really what it is. Not a rags to riches, a comeback story.
The thing that genuinely they have the chance, they bought it for something like £3 million, which is, you know, very cheap for a football club. They have the potential to turn it into a $10 billion business. Because
It's insane.
you could do that with GWS.
So
Jack.
insane.
You could.
Can I be the Ryan Reynolds to GWS?
You fucking well could.
You know what? I'll be the Rob McElhenney. I feel like we'll get somebody bigger.
We need to get you to the gym. You need to get to the gym.
I do, like, pronto. I really do. No, I mean, like, I just feel like something like that, not necessarily with the American ownership of the thing, but, you know, like something where, I don't know, I even feel like Ted Lasso made a bunch of Americans into football fans, but we need that with footy.
Yeah,
we need our, you just need to send Jason Sudeikis. You know, no, you need to send
be someone not Sudeikis.
He's already taken. Send Horatio Sands to
someone else from that SNL era.
From that SNL era, send Horatio Sands to GWS and have him be the Ted Lasso.
Yes.
No, that's a great plan, Jack. Thank you so much for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you for leading, being our great boss and the owner of this podcast. Can I ask just, when's the next season of The Boys? When are we getting that?
Here's the thing. I actually don't know, and I am being real here. We got an email. We got an email recently, basically saying like, yeah, it'll be like sometime this year. We just don't actually have the date yet.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know, but it'll be this year. It will be this year.
Homelander.
I'm gonna assume summer. Yeah. I don't know why, but maybe
Homelander.
Maybe
they like Homelander
no
now. They've seen him for his true self.
Yeah.
And he's laughing, and it's that meme.
Now we're all kissing. Now we're all kissing.
Yeah, now we're all
That's
kissing.
the new season, all kisses.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's called. We just changed the title of the show to "Now We're All Kissing."
That would be bad for branding. But Jack, thank you so much, mate. Have a wonderful Sunday, and love to all of you. Thank you for listening and watching. And I don't know what I'm saying. Bounce that pill.